sometimes we doubt. Sometimes we only see where we fall short. Sometimes we look around and we feel others are better or might be better at our role than we are. My next guest says they aren't. She believes you are the right woman for the job, whether as a mother, grandmother, sister, or aunt. Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson is here to share why you're perfect for your people. Welcome, Heather. So it's officially May, which means it's the month we celebrate moms. And I think above all, I don't know, I find as I listen to women, as I connect with my own inner circle, women just want to be seen, right, for the work that they're doing in the right way.
We do. We want to be seen, and also we want to know that we're making a difference, that what we're doing really is enough, that it's making an impact. We long for that, especially given that the roles that we've taken on, they require a lot. And so it's nice to know that what we are giving is being well received.
Because we're not just giving, we're pouring. Like I see that in women in so many different roles and capacities and responsibilities. We don't just give, we pour ourselves into these tasks and these opportunities. Yeah, and so you do want to feel that kickback.
Yeah, we do. We're pouring everything that we have. And so sometimes when you're pouring it all in, we start to gauge what we're pouring in according to what we get back, right? What our kids do, what our grandchildren do. And separating those two things is really challenging, to recognize I'm going to pour everything I can in, and it doesn't mean anything about what I get back.
Yeah, just because the output doesn't equal the input or feels like it does not disvalue what you're doing.
It's exactly right. Yeah. And so then we find ourselves going, well, wait a second, maybe I'm actually not qualified for this job.
Start to question.
Maybe I can't do this, right?
Yeah.
And I think qualified is a pretty interesting word. I think we look at it and we think that to be qualified means we've already arrived somewhere, like we're perfect in something to be qualified. When really, if you look at being qualified, it actually means to be trained to do a job.
Oh, interesting.
There's this training portion to the word qualified, that we're gaining skills and abilities and knowledge that helps us accomplish a task or do a job. Now, if that isn't the definition of being a mother or grandmother, I don't know what is. To constantly be gaining more training, knowledge, and ability in order to be a mom or to be a grandmother, this is an everyday process, and we are the right women for the job. And first, I mean, we're the right women for the job because that's our job. It is our job. I can't get out, I am a mother to 6 children. That is who I am. It automatically qualifies me for that position.
Because you're in it.
Because I'm in it. And just embracing that really helps us to just go, wait a second, but this is where I'm at, and this is my position, and so I'm going to go ahead and wrap my arms around it, right? I'm going to embrace that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sayings or quotes is that God doesn't choose the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. And I love that idea that as mothers, as grandmothers, as sisters, as aunts, as women, that there's this room to consistently every day be qualified, simply because it's the position that we have. We don't come in qualified, right? We come in ready to learn and to gain skills and abilities.
It's an on-the-job training.
It is, it is.
And I love that you're taking that phrase that we do hear a lot, like you're the right woman for the job, but you're backing it up. It's not just a nicety. Like you firmly believe this, and you've got some points to back it up. You say mothers specifically, grandmothers would fit under this too. There's an emotional swap happening that makes you just uniquely qualified, if we want to use that word.
Absolutely. We're qualified because we've experienced the emotions that our children are experiencing.
Yeah.
You know, we tend to think that the only way we're qualified is if we've gone through exactly what they've gone through, especially when you look at grandmothers. There is this exponential difference happening between generations. There is growth between generations, unlike we've seen before, with really big societal changes. It's easy as a grandmother to look at their grandchildren and think, well, I haven't gone through what you've gone through. So clearly I can't relate. I'm not right for this job. We don't have to have the experiences. We need to have felt the emotions. Our grandmothers, our mothers, they have felt sadness and loneliness and heartache and joy and all the things.
So even though they haven't felt it through the lens of social media, they've still felt it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we want to recognize we're qualified because we've experienced those feelings. We learn, right? We're learning and growing, and we qualify because of that.
I also think if we're riding that emotion wave for just a minute, there's like a chord. I mean, my friend joked the other day at lunch, she's like, I only like my own children. But, and that wasn't true. But to the sense that I'm going to feel more deeply if it's my kid out there or my grandkid out there as opposed to the kid down the street who I like. There's this emotional chord that tethers us, I think, to them in a really special way.
Absolutely. And that goes back to the fact that we are theirs and they are ours, right?
Yeah, there's an ownership.
We also are qualified because we make sacrifices for them every day. We sacrifice time and energy and money and sleep. I mean, this is back to just pouring and sacrificing everything we have into them.
And what about sacrificial living makes you qualified per se?
Yeah, it's really cool because when we make sacrifices, it equates to gaining more compassion And when we gain more compassion, we actually gain more humility. And if we go back to being qualified, right, being in training essentially, or being trained up to do this job, when we are gaining that compassion and that humility, those are skills and abilities that make us better at doing what it is we've chosen to do. We become more qualified in doing it. So these sacrifices, they help tether. Anytime we sacrifice for someone, our hearts are knit together with theirs. And that's what happens.
Okay, here's a beautiful word. You're qualified because you strive. We don't say that word a lot. You strive.
You do. And if you look at what to strive means, it means that we're going to put in great effort to accomplish or obtain something.
Think of all the books that are on your nightstands, moms. Think of all the parenting blogs and the parenting accounts that you read every day, and your heart just longs to be better and to jump higher and to do it, differently. That's striving.
It is. It's great effort, and we are willing to put in that great effort every day. Anytime we put in, again, that great effort, we develop those skills and abilities, again, the wisdom and the knowledge to know how to best show up for our children. It doesn't have to be that we've gone through the same things. It needs to be that we're willing to gain those foundational principles. And then we can be the right person in any situation.
And you know what I find myself thinking is we can't let that trip us up, because I would argue the parents of today, the moms of today, are probably the most educated and the most aware, not to throw that title around, but they're striving, they're seeking
Absolutely.
that education, and you can't let that be plant doubt in your heart, because knowledge sometimes pushes us forward, but knowledge also sometimes is a mirror that we hold up and say, well, I'm not adding up in that way.
I'm not. And it's worth gaining both, obviously, but I think to go along with that, sometimes we are so busy seeking out the knowledge, exactly what do I do and how do I do it, and minute by minute structure, that we forget that what we do need the most is those underlying values like the compassion and the humility and the emotional intelligence, so that then we can navigate any situation. And I think sometimes we forget that. We get really caught up in gaining the specific knowledge.
Finally, you're qualified because they are a product of you. Now that's a beautiful statement.
They absolutely are. And this is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay, wait, I take it back. Not so beautiful.
It is the most beautiful because of that exact thing, because they are a product, or we could say a byproduct of us. But this is again where we doubt ourselves. Instead of taking a step back and going, wait a second, if parts of you come from me, then I don't actually need an owner's manual, because I know how to attend to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you are a piece of me, right? Because we have created you, and as a result, I have inside me what it is that I need to know and do in order to attend to anything and everything you need. But if we're not willing to accept and almost be excited about the fact that that's the role and trust that we've got what it takes, we will spend a lot of wasted energy worrying about if we're qualified instead of actually executing the fact that we are. We are qualified.
I appreciate the emotion and passion behind that testimony, behind that truth. And I found myself thinking this morning, reflecting on this topic and the conversation I knew we would have. I have plenty of parenting doubts. This has never been one of them. And I don't say that as a point of boastfulness, but a point of gratitude. Like whoever put that in me or whoever, however that was instilled, it helps so many other areas when like you're it.
Absolutely.
You're it.
And own it, right?
Yeah.
When you accept that this is what it is. And it means that if something does go south and it isn't your favorite day, or you didn't handle it just right, you can then look at it and go, that doesn't change the fact that I know that I'm it. And so whether it goes south or north, I'm okay because I'm it.
Yeah.
Right? It's a beautiful place to be if we'll own it.
A worthy truth to work toward. Thank you so much for planting those seeds of growth in our heart. I will post this conversation on our website, of course, if you want to send it to a mom who you think might need a similar boost.